Hello and welcome to Palo Alto, California for the West Bay Game of the Week, where tonight it's the Archbishop Mitty Monarchs and the Palo Alto Vikings. Alongside Grant Raffel, I'm Trevor Felch. Welcome, everybody. Glad you could be here for this top 10 matchup between two teams who know each other very well, having met each other 5 times over the past 5 years, and, well, Paly's 3-2, and they seem to sort of alternate who wins, who loses tonight. Who knows, but it's a crucial Week 2 matchup here, Grant.
Absolutely, Trevor. These are two perennial Bay Area football powerhouses. This should be a fantastic matchup. We've got great teams. 2 of the top 3 in the Mercury News poll, and we'll see what happens. Of course, Paly beat Mitty twice in the 2010 season on their way to the state championship. And Mitty came back with a little revenge last year. So we'll see how this one plays out.
And as we see the coin toss, and the sun begins to set here at Honray Field. These two teams are beginning a new regular season home and away matchup where they're at Paly this year and then will be at Mitty next season. Coming into tonight, Palo Alto at a record of 1-0. They won at San Benito High School of Hollister 40-21 last Friday night. Meanwhile, the Mitty Monarchs are 2-0. Having won at Los Gatos in Week 1 and then at home, even though they play their home games actually at Foothill College, defeating Leland High School last week by a score of 34-7. Paly in their home green jerseys trimmed with white, while Mitty in their road white jerseys, black numerals trimmed with gold. Paly to kick off from our left to right, north to south here at Honray Field. And we are underway. And on the return, Dakaria Monroe for the Monarchs from his own 5-yard line up the middle. The ball pops loose, and it's picked up by the Monarchs. Across midfield, inside the 40, and down to the 32-yard line. Jordan Goyanola picked up the fumble and finally was brought down in Paly territory by Eric Anderson. Now, I didn't see, we'll have to see on the replay how the ball popped loose, and then the Monarchs picked up tremendous field position because of the fumble.
That's a great break for the Monarchs. Almost a disaster, but instead they're going to start their drive from the 30-yard line. Almost just 30 yards left to the end zone.
The quarterback for Mitty is the senior Wyatt Hansen, standing tall at 5'11", and he begins out of the shotgun from the 30-yard line of the Vikings with a 5-receiver spread formation. Deep over the middle, incomplete. Hansen's pass intended for Jason Sutton. Incomplete. Well, let's take a look at some of the keys to the game here tonight for, well, we'll start here with Mitty on offense, going up against that tough Viking defense that held San Benito in the first game of the year to 21 points. And to being scoreless in the second half of the third quarter and the entire fourth quarter.
Yeah, the Viking defense, they lost quite a few starters from last year, but as usual, they've replaced them with other able players, and they, as you said, they played a strong half last week.
The second down carry to Dakaria Monroe, brought down by Matt Tolbert, senior captain for the Vikings, who led the Viking defense with 6.5 tackles last week. And that brings up a third and about 4 from the 24-yard line. As the Mitty Monarchs face a 3rd and 4 now. Hansen from the shotgun looks left and badly misfires, overthrowing it.
Overthrew him there.
He was looking for Jason Sutton, who he connected to on the first down play. Malcolm Davis applies the coverage there for the Vikings. And now the question is, do you go for it here on 4th down? What exactly would be the field goal range for Phil Langlois?
Yeah, they're looking at about a 42-yarder. This is the area of the field that they're going to go for it, I believe. And it looks like that's what they're doing.
And they will go for it. 4th down, 5 yards to go at the 24-yard line. Backs it offset eye to the left. It is a handoff up the middle. Should be enough for the Mitty first down.
Yep, a good play call there by Matt Haniger, the Mitty head coach.
Chandler Ramirez there on the carry. Sort of a two-back offense. You get more of the speed into Dakari Monroe, and then you get sort of the bruiser back, the fullback in Ramirez.
Yep.
Just over a minute into the game, no score, opening drive, and Mitty converts there on 4th down with a first down and 10. Give is to Kyle Evans. Runs into a host of green jerseys. So now some keys to the game here for the Vikings. We were talking with some of the players in practice yesterday, and they were saying one thing we need to do a lot better than last week at San Benito is play 4 quarters. That essentially, to Coach Earl Hansen and to these players, they took off the 2nd and 3rd quarter, and then they started playing again with 3 unanswered touchdowns in the 4th quarter. But you got to play the whole game.
Exactly. I mean, against this very talented Mitty team, if they take off even a few minutes, they're going to find themselves in a hole that will be insurmountable.
And on 2nd and 9, the give is to Chandler Ramirez, and Ramirez sprints up the middle, 15 yards untouched for the Mitty touchdown.
And that's what we were talking about, the Paly defense. A lot of young players probably have never played on such a big stage, and they're just going to have to get used to it.
So Chandler Ramirez, the junior for the Monarchs, scores from 15 yards out. And a very impressive first 2 minutes and 5 seconds here for the Mitty Monarchs, with a little bit of help on that fumble there at the kickoff.
All set up by that fumble that made him return it all the way to the 30. And you see
the point after by Daniel Rice is good, and with 9:55 to go in the first quarter, the Mitty Monarchs have an early 7-0 lead over Palo Alto. And coming into tonight, the Monarchs ranked 53rd in all of California. Meanwhile, Palo Alto comes into tonight ranked 82nd in the state. And I was looking at what I don't know how you really can say that necessarily, but then there's the question of what the rankings are in the Bay Area, and I think Paly's like 3rd or 4th, and Mitty like 9th. We'll know a lot more after this game.
Exactly. The rankings can say whatever they want. The bottom line is we have 2 very strong football teams going at it, and the winner of this one should have a great shot to have a chance to win the CCS Open Division at the end of the year.
Absolutely, and of course, en route to winning the CCS Open Division 2 years ago in 2010, who did Palo Alto have to defeat in the playoffs? But these Mitty Monarchs.
Right, and who could forget that when senior quarterback Christoph Bono, 4th and goal from the 21-yard line in the final minute, he hit receiver Devontae Adams. Just a classic play in Palo Alto Viking history, and they'll remember that one in their state championship for a while.
Langlois kicks off for Mitty, and Jayshawn Gates-Mouton on the return for Palo Alto to the Viking 20-yard line. And now out onto the field comes the junior quarterback, Keller Christ, captain of the Vikings. Had a very impressive game, as did the entire Paly offense last week at San Benito. 248 total passing yards, going 12 of 30. Christ, highly touted, son of the San Francisco 49ers quarterback coach Jeep Christ.
And as the Vikings begin at their own 18-yard line, it's a handoff up the middle to Matt Tolbert. And speaking of impressive offense, Matt Tolbert with a career-high 201 yards last week.
Yes, Tolbert had to sit out much of last season with an injury, but he made his presence felt last week at San Benito with 201 yards on just 15 carries. He should be one of the stars of the Vikings this year.
And not just on offense. He's a leading tackler as well for Palo Alto.
Very true, very talented guy.
Crisp pass complete to the near side. Gates Mouton with the reception, brought down by Dakari Monroe. Gates Mouton, 5'9" senior for the Vikings. And it's hard, with all of the attention that Chris receives, we have to remember he's a junior, and he already has an offer from the University of Southern California Trojans. He most likely will be receiving an offer from Alabama.
Very true.
And yet he will be with Paly next year.
That's right. He one of those rare players that's going to be able to start 3 years on varsity as the quarterback.
And Christ, on the second effort, bolts his way up the middle for the first down, tracked down by Monroe. Pickup of 14 yards on the quarterback keeper there for Christ. So not only he can throw, but apparently he can run as well.
Yeah, you know, he's a big guy, and looking at him, you might not expect it, but he really can. He can be mobile, and he can beat you in many different ways out there, as Mitty just learned.
He's 6'4", 230 pounds. Just but when you see him out there, he's like the basketball player. He just stands so tall over everybody else that he's on his team and the coaches even. So a timeout called on the field. I believe the timeout called by Paly, but I'm not
Actually, it was
it was Mitty. Yep, it was Mitty.
Probably didn't like what they saw after that easy sneak by Chris.
And Earl Hansen, the head coach of Palo Alto, in his 24th season with the Vikings. And that is Justin Gates Mouton, brother of Jay Sean, who just made the reception.
Right. There are twin brothers that have been on the football team. They were both played large roles last year and even bigger this year as seniors.
And the tackle made there by Herringer, Hanniger, I should say, who would be the son of the Mitty coach. Here's a pitch to Justin Gates Mouton going to the left, flying down on the play. Might be coming back with a holding call, possibly.
That's what it looks like. But you saw the speed there of Justin Gates Mouton, and you know, Paly's got a lot of speed between him and his brother, Jay Sean. They've also got Tolbert, as we mentioned, and Malcolm Davis, the junior, as well. So a lot of threats for Paly.
And Davis with 3 touchdowns last week, leading the charge.
Offense. 10 yards
Davis,
from the start
another
of the
one
foul.
of those young players that the Vikings have coached up and turned him into a great player with lots of versatility and potential.
So after the penalty, Paly goes back to their own 36-yard line and makes it a 2nd and 16. Passes complete to Malcolm Davis. Davis with a first down and more. Brings a tackle inside the 30 and down to the 28-yard line. Christ connecting with Malcolm Davis, the junior captain.
We mentioned it, Malcolm Davis with the speed and the moves there. As you can see, Chris with the play action. Hits him on a simple route, misses the Mitty defender, and goes just sideways there.
At least 3 missed tackles. First down and 10 now at the 29-yard line of Mitty. One back behind Christ. Plenty of time. Has Davis off his fingertips in the end zone. Monroe on the coverage. Very loose coverage, though. That was a touchdown, but just out of the reach.
It looked like Davis may have tripped up there as he was diving for the ball. Very close to a score there. But you can see the arm strength. And
yes, I was going to mention that. It's a rocket of a throw by Keller Christ, but just out of the reach of his intended receiver, Malcolm Davis. 2nd and 10. Handoff Tolbert, nowhere to go. Drop for a loss of about 1.
Yeah, Tolbert may very well have ran into his own players there. Nick Beeson trying to block, but just ran into a wall.
There was no hole for him to run through. So now a big 3rd down coming up from the 30-yard line of Mitty. And of course, there will be no shotgun formation here, ever. There has never been a shotgun formation with Earl Hansen as the coach at Paly. Christ throws and in and out of the hands. His intended receiver looking for Jay Sean Gates Mouton, and he could not hold on.
That's simply bad luck right there. Jay Sean has caught thousands of those passes in practice. Just didn't come up big there. But now 4th and 10 from the 29. Looks like Paly's going to go for it. This is, again, that area of the field that, especially in high school football, just makes sense because punt will not gain you much yardage and a field goal is a little iffy. So here we go. Christ under center.
They need 10 yards for the 1st down, and here's the blitz. Christ under pressure, rolls to his left, shakes off one tackler, trying to shake off another. He'll pick up about 5 yards on the cornerback keeper, but can't find the 1st down for the Vikings.
Yeah, but Christ, he did do a good job there of making something out of nothing. Easily could have been a 10-yard loss. Did not get all the way to the 1st down, but made a valiant effort.
I thought there was no way he wasn't going to be dropped for a loss of 10 yards on that play.
I
But somehow he made positive yardage.
Exactly.
Just not quite the entire necessary yardage for the 1st down. Monarchs leading 7-0, 6:24 to go here in the 1st quarter. And here is the Monarch offense now, beginning at their own 26-yard line. Pickup of about 6 yards or so on that carry for Kyle Evans.
As you see, a nice hole opened up there.
Ryder with the Paly stop. Now, Mitty not starting with quite as good field position as they did in that opening drive when, thanks to a fumble that was recovered on the opening kickoff by Mitty, they started at the Paly 30-yard line.
Right, this will test their offense a little more as they will have to go full 75 yards for a score.
And Kyle Evans shedding tacklers picks up the 1st down. Matt Tolbert in on the stop. And right now the Mitty offense doesn't seem to be having too many issues with the Viking defense.
That's true. They're all over them so far. Just they've only run a few offensive plays, but all of them have been positive plays.
And mostly on the ground. 1st and 10 with the 41, flying down. Hansen to pass as a man wide open inside the 10 and down to the 2-yard line. Jordan Ganginola, and he would have had a touchdown if it weren't for Matt Tolbert, but it's coming back.
It's coming back, but that's just a great effort by Matt Tolbert. That's something Coach Hansen loves to see. Chases him down at the 2-yard line, but lucky for Paly, it will be coming back anyways.
I don't know if that was just a blown coverage assignment or something, but nobody was within 5 yards of Ganginola.
Right, Right, yeah, he certainly got out into the open field, and that's not something Paly wants to see, especially at this point in the game. I mean, Mitty would have had a chance to be up 14-7 just a little over midway through the first. But instead, they'll be back 1st and 15 from the 41.
So a break for the Vikings. And now a 1st down and 15 with Wyatt Hansen under center. And he gives to his up back, but nowhere to go.
Just nothing there for the Monarchs.
And that was Robert O'Leary, the fullback for Mitty. And the Monarchs have one more game under their belt thus far this season, having won a huge showdown at Los Gatos in week 1, and won their home opener against Leland High School last week. They will be opening their West Catholic Athletic League slate next week at home against Sarah High School. Hansen back to pass, fires over the middle, incomplete. Looking for Dakari Monroe, who is about to get decked by Matt Tolbert. Brings up 3rd and long. I think he could hear the footsteps of Tolbert coming.
I think so. Tolbert is just all around. We've seen him already rushing, saving the touchdown called back, and there again, truly a versatile player. And really, this will be his first full season for the Vikings. So I know Coach Hansen is looking forward to his continuous improvement.
3rd and 14. From the 37, deep drop for Hansen. Under pressure, and he's sacked.
Sack.
Drop for a loss by Deontay Williams. Nowhere to go for Wyatt Hansen. Brings up a 4th and a long ways to go for the Monarchs.
Right. No option here for Mitty at all but to punt it, and Paly should get pretty decent field position out of it.
4th and 27 to be exact, as Malcolm Davis awaits the Mitty punt, and it's a good one. Davis will just let it bounce to a rest around the Paly 31-yard line. So that is where Keller Christ and the Viking offense will begin their 2nd drive of the game with 3:28 to go in the 1st quarter.
Right, a 44-yard punt there, low liner, only landed about 30, but took a few Mitty bounces, and you know,
it's where it ends that counts.
Exactly. Mitty shouldn't be too disappointed with that after being backed up well within their own territory.
And a good stop there by the Paly defense.
Absolutely. The Paly defense that had looked a little shaky early on, but getting into their rhythm now, and that was a good series for them.
Tolbert in the backfield is the lone back on 1st and 10. Chris with a pump fake, keeps it himself, shows that mobility, and picks up 6 to the 37-yard line. Stopped by Jason Sutton. And I have never seen Keller Christ play other than in practice yesterday, but I have heard so much about him, and just so far from what I see, the first thing that comes to my mind is poise. He is in control, and it is something you just get from experience. It's just also something you get from understanding your offense, understanding the play, the circumstances of the game. And 2nd and 4 on the play action. Pass is dropped. Looking for Malcolm Davis.
Malcolm Davis appears to be one of his favorite targets, as we've seen. But as you were saying, Trevor, Christ, a lot of poise, and although he's only had 1 year of varsity experience, he's got a great pedigree in his family between his father, who's the 49ers quarterbacks coach, his uncle, the head coach of the University of Pittsburgh.
That's right, Paul Christ.
His grandfather as well was a college coach, so he's got the his family certainly.
What do you think they talk about at dinner? Maybe football. On 3rd and 5, the play action pass complete. First down, Paly. Jay-Sean Gates-Mouton with the catch, heading into Monarch territory. Monroe with the tackle.
And you'll see both Jay-Sean and Justin here. I think we'll just call them by first name.
I think we could see, though, you were saying how Malcolm Davis definitely the favorite target, perhaps. I think Jay-Sean Gates-Mouton certainly another favorite target of Christ's as well.
Yeah, Paly has been known to spread it around.
1st and 10 from the Monarch 46. Christ in trouble, and down he goes. Sacked at the 48 of Paly by Jason Sutton.
Yes, that was a great sack by Sutton. But again, as you talk about the poise with Chris, the younger quarterback may have tried to do something there, throw it away, but Chris just knew to hold onto the ball. Only first down, and has got another chance at it now.
And what's interesting about Chris Dad, who being the quarterbacks coach of the 49ers, never was a quarterback in college or the National Football League. He was a linebacker when he attended Princeton University, never played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Nowhere to go there on the carry for Justin Gates-Mouton, brought down by Daniel Mendoza. As the Caltrain heads by Hadre Field, there's a lot of noise with train whistles and trumpets at the band.
One of the traditions here at Palo Alto, the train, it'll go by, the passers-by maybe get a glimpse of some great football action.
It's just like Safeco Field in Seattle. 3rd and long, Christ over the middle, incomplete. Looking for Malcolm Davis. Looks like it was thrown behind Davis. And 4th down coming up for the Vikings. So after that impressive first down connection to Malcolm Davis, nothing else for the Palo Alto offense.
Yep, not their best series there. And they'll have to get their defense back out on the field and stop Mitty yet again.
Kyle Evans and Dakari Monroe back to receive. Keller Chris, the punter, multi-talented quarterback. Fair catch called for and made by Monroe.
And Mitty will take over from the 10-yard line. But Chris, as you mentioned, multi-talented. He punted last year as well, and you know, that was a pretty solid 41-yard punt right there.
No, that was beautiful. When football is everywhere when you grow up, you learn all aspects of the game.
Exactly.
I don't think Chris will be playing defense, though, tonight.
Oh, he's got to rest up. He's got enough of a challenge going against this Archbishop Mitty secondary.
Well, you can see him in front of us talking with the quarterback coach, another former NFL quarterback, Steve Bono, father of Christoph Bono, former Palo Alto quarterback. 1st and 10 for the Monarchs from their own 10-yard line. Nothing much doing up the middle there for Chandler Ramirez. Eric Anderson making the stop with 30 seconds to go in the first quarter.
It'll be 2nd and 10 from Mitty's own 10-yard line, trying to back up from the shadows of their own end zone.
You could see there the concern of the Paly student faithful, thinking, well, the offense just hasn't gotten it going yet in this first quarter. And off the right tackle, a little bit of running room for Dakari Monroe. Connor Scheel with the stop as time runs out on the first quarter. An opening drive touchdown for Mitty on a 15-yard touchdown run by Chandler Ramirez, the only scoring in the first quarter. And after the first 15 minutes of play at Hadre Field in Palo Alto, the Mitty Monarchs lead the Palo Alto Vikings 7-0. So Paly needs to start getting that offense going.
Absolutely. Other than that one pass to, I believe it was Jay Sean Gates-Mouton, not many big plays for the Paly Vikings, and the crowd has largely been a non-factor. We see the large student section right in front of us. Not much noise coming from them, so we'll have to look forward to some more action here in the second quarter.
Well, tonight's game on the Palo Alto Media Center is brought to you in part by Piazza's Fine Foods, located in Midtown Shopping Center at the corner of Middlefield and Charleston. Piazza's Fine Foods, a local Palo Alto grocery store with excellent sandwiches, salads, produce.
Absolutely.
We're at Hondre Field in Palo Alto, California, alongside Grant Raffel. I'm Trevor Felch. Glad you could be with us here on the West Bay Game of the Week on the Midpeninsula Community Center, serving Palo Alto, Menlo Park, Los Altos Hills, Atherton. 7-0. The Monarchs of Mitty lead as there's a fumble on the play.
The ball is loose.
And it will be up to the officials to try and decipher who is at the bottom of the pile with the ball. As both teams signaling that they have it.
Of course, as usual. We'll see who comes up.
And Paly has it. The first turnover of the game committed by Mitty. And Palo Alto takes over on the first play of the second quarter.
And that's the type of game-changing play Palo Alto needed right there. Gets the crowd into it a little bit. They'll take over from the 10-yard line, just a few yards away from the end zone.
I didn't see there on the replay who of Paly may have gotten a hand in there to force the fumble.
It looked like junior Andrew Frick came away pretty happy from the play, so we'll give him credit for now, but it looked like a group.
On first down, Chris hands off to Eric Anderson. And just a first and goal here, beginning at their own, at the Mitty 9-yard line. Well, Paly needs to somehow get on the board at least here with this golden opportunity.
Yep. It's definitely been a game of field position. As we said, Mitty, the first drive, the ball on the Palo Alto 30, able to score. Palo Alto now on the Mitty 10, but when the teams have started in their own territory, they've had a little more difficulty getting the offense going.
Second and goal, Tolbert the deep back, and the fullback is Eric Anderson. It is to Tolbert, left side, touchdown Palo Alto. A 7-yard touchdown run for Matt Tolbert. So the fumble proves costly for Mitty, and on 2 plays, the Vikings find the end zone.
Yep, Tolbert going
untouched
on the outside. Pretty easy score for him there. And you can see the Paly band and student section are into it now.
And the point after attempt for the Vikings is good from James Foog.
Yeah, James Foog, an interesting story. A senior this year, played on the freshman football team, took a couple years off, and now helping the varsity as their place kicker. He's been pretty solid so far from what we've seen.
And 59 seconds into the second quarter, the Vikings and Monarchs are tied 7-7, but what else do you expect?
Exactly, these teams have been so evenly matched really over the last 4 years when they've played their series. Paly won 3 of those 5, but actually the home team has won every game, so we'll see if that trend continues, but I think that is actually not the best indicator. These teams are evenly matched no matter where they play.
But
But Mitty did make it one level further in the playoffs last year. Both teams lost to Bellarmine in the CCS Open Division playoffs. Paly fell in the semifinals, and Mitty lost in the final game as they kick from Vogue all the way to the goal line. Returned by Dakari Monroe to the 20-yard line, and back out onto the field comes the Archbishop Mitty offense. At 10:54 to go in the second quarter. 7-7 the score. The Paly faithful enjoying another Friday night at Hodray Field, the first football game at Hodray of the season.
Right. The Paly crowd came out and they're all white tonight to support the Vikings. We'll see what happens here as Mitty takes over.
Going for the wideout. Quarterback keeper on first down for Wyatt Hansen.
And we mentioned it's been a game largely dictated by field position. This time, Mitty taking over deep in their own territory again. Their offense is going to have to get something going if they want to score on this drive.
Well, we haven't seen much in the way of throwing here for Wyatt Hansen and Mitty. Well, he's going to the air here and has a man over the middle, complete out to the 47-yard line. Connects with Jacob Wesson, tracked down by Malcolm Davis, and a first down for Mitty on the 24-yard pass completion.
Yep, you called it there, Trevor. One of the first long passes we've seen Hansen throw, and he threw it on the money. And that's certainly going to help Mitty's chances of getting it all the way down to the end zone.
And Mitty trying to get that offense going here. And it's a quarterback keeper for Hansen running into option. And that was read perfectly by Paly's Larry Allen. Dropped for a loss of 2. Now, Larry Allen was not fooled at all there by the option play.
No, he wasn't. Right after him, and nice play by Allen, the senior.
Senior left defensive end. Hard to miss him out there. It's a big defensive line there for Paly.
It is.
4 receivers in here on 2nd and 12. And a quick slant off the fingertips of Daniel Moscow. 3rd and 13.
Dangerously deflected there by Moscow, almost into the hands of one of the Paly corners. But instead, it'll be 3rd and 13 from Mitty's own 46.
Well, so far we've only seen Wyatt Hansen at cornerback. Sometimes you'll see Trenton Scharenberg, a junior, also come in. He played some of the game against Leland last week. And out of the shotgun, 3rd and 12, deep down the near sideline, incomplete. This time not successful in connecting with Jacob Wesson. Step for step, Justin Gates Mouton there on the coverage. So 1 first down, but that's all for the Mitty offense, and the punt team comes back onto the field.
And Malcolm Davis back for the Vikings to return. We've seen him break off a couple of runs here.
So this is where Paly must hope really to have that good, solid drive. A lot of plays, a lot of yardage as Davis returns from his own 25, flying down on the play. Picks up a return of about 8 yards. We'll see what the flag, though, is. So we have our referee tonight mic'd up. So what's interesting is we can hear him, but the crowd here at Hodray Field cannot hear him. The microphone does not work with the stadium public address system.
Oh, yeah.
But what's more important, I mean, the stadium or television?
Absolutely, we've got
our priorities. Of course we are.
Right.
They didn't even let us go into the press box, though. We're up here
Illegal block in the back is the penalty on the Vikings. Will push them back to their own 9-yard line. A long ways to go for the Vikings. With 9:04 to go in the second quarter, the game tied 7-7. Hand off on the first play of the drive for a yard or two for Mr. Tolbert. Mendoza makes the tackle.
Just a marginal gain on the play. But again, we actually haven't seen Chris throw so much recently, so look for him to throw on this play.
He could be throwing from his end zone too. Goes with the quick drop, steps up in the pocket, slings a laser over the middle and hits the numbers of his intended receiver, Malcolm Davis, and Davis just could not hold on.
That's the second drop we've seen Davis have. Two good throws by Chris. Yeah, Davis.
That was a rocket of a throw, though.
It was. See, not most high school quarterbacks throw it that hard, so we can have a little sympathy for Davis on that one.
It hurt. 3rd and 10. Mitty trying to get the quick 3 and out here with Paly pinned deep in their own territory. Tolbert the lone back. Chris back to pass, and from his blind side, wrapped up and dropped for a sack. Back at the Paly 5-yard line. Sacked by Daniel Mendoza, and a 3 and out here for the Vikings. And Paly will be punting from their own end zone.
Right, Chris is gonna have to be at the back of the end zone, and you see Mitty looking to receive this on the Paly 45 or so. Another great chance at some field position for the Monarchs, and another chance to take advantage of.
Keller Christ with the punt from the Paly end zone. Fair catch called for and made at the Paly 45-yard line by Kyle Evans. Excellent field position here for Mitty. When they scored on the opening drive, they had to start from the Paly 30. Now they get to start from the Paly 45 in a 7-7 tie with 7:37 to go here in the second quarter.
Right, field position. Again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. These Monarchs can take advantage of this. Just 45 yards to the end zone.
And on this very crisp late summer night, first play of the drive is a handoff for about 2 yards to Ramirez. Eric Anderson makes the stop. It is very crisp, very cold out here tonight. I have my gloves and my East Coast overcoat. When I attended college in Ohio, we wore these for every football game because it would snow.
Right, we're not used to that in Northern California, no. But these cold nights are a staple.
Absolutely. It was a beautiful day, though. 2nd and 8. Hit as he throws, and the pass complete. Down to the 25-yard line. Hansen was knocked down as he threw the pass. Drew Ryder applying the pressure there and nearly had the sack. And a 17-yard pickup there on the completion to Jacob Wesson.
I'm a little surprised Coach Hanniger hasn't had Hansen pass a little more, because when we've seen him drop back to pass, he's been effective.
Absolutely. Hansen under center now. With the no tight end, 3 receivers set, plenty of time, throws, and almost intercepted. Oh my, what a dangerous pass there off the fingertips of the safety Connor Shield. Looks like Shield was the intended receiver, how he got ahead of the receiver.
He did.
There.
That's great coverage by Shield, going after the ball.
Now 2nd and 10 at the 26 of Paly.
the main receiver for Mitty, Nanjinola, just went to the sideline. This might be a rushing play here. Motion for Evans, and it is a handoff. Nowhere to go for Kyle Evans. Eric Anderson makes the stop. Seems like every other play I'm saying Eric Anderson's name defensively.
That's Eric Anderson. He's everywhere on defense. Just gets around and makes the key tackles. Here as we approach the midway point of the second quarter. Tie ball game, 7-all, and Mitty faces a key 3rd down and 9 from the Paly 25.
It has certainly been a defensive contest thus far in a 7-7 tie. Option to the left. Hansen pitches to Ramirez. Ramirez run out of bounds short of the first down.
Stopped well short there. Great defensive play as the
McAllister looks like the first to push him out. But the question now, are you potentially in field goal territory or just go for the 4th and 6 at the 22? So this would be about a 39, 40-yard field goal.
Yeah, that's pushing the range, especially on such a cold night as this one. So Mitty will go for it on 4th down.
There is no wind. Going for it on 4th down. The pass is incomplete, almost intercepted by Matt Tolbert. It wouldn't have made a difference anyway because now Paly gets the ball. So they probably would have had worse field position.
Tolbert made a good decision there to let that slip through his hands.
He took one for the team, not for the statistics book there.
Exactly. Instead, Paly will start with better field position at the Mitty, at their own 22, with 5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Big crowd here at Hodray Field, hoping to see Paly put together an impressive offensive drive. First play incomplete, intended for Kayshawn Johnson. Jacob Wesson applying the coverage there for Mitty. So far, a lot of great throws by Keller Chris, but his receivers have not been holding on to them.
Not on the same page with his receivers. That one just a jump ball, really, and Johnson couldn't get up there quickly enough.
Split backs behind Christ. You're on 2nd and 10 from the Paly 21. And here's Tolbert. Tolbert cuts the corner, has the first down and more. Midfield pushed out of bounds at the Mitty 47-yard line.
Tolbert crosses midfield there, taking it outside. That was an impressive run by the senior.
And you can just see that speed as if he's a sprinter in the 200-meter coming around the bend. As he turned upfield, cutting that corner, all of a sudden he kicked it into another gear.
That he did, something he's been working on at practice. So Christ and the Vikings will start from the Mitty 46 here on 1st down.
5-step drop for Christ. Pump fake, under pressure, going deep, has a man wide open, touchdown Vikings! Malcolm Davis wide open in the end zone for the Paly touchdown.
Davis just slipped behind the secondary there, and the Paly fans are loving it. Great job by Christ of avoiding the pressure and stayed upright just long enough to make the deep throw to Davis for the easy score.
And Davis was wide open, not a Monarch, within a 10-yard radius. And Paly, now with 2 unanswered touchdowns, has their first lead of the night, and the point after from Vogue is good. 4:35 to go before halftime. And Paly has the lead, 14-7.
Matt Tolbert, he's been doing it all tonight. That run to set up the crisp pass, as well as some key tackles on defense.
I was about to say, rest up. because he's about to go back out onto the field in a few moments. As Earl Hansen and Steve Bono must be very pleased with that pass there from their young quarterback, Keller Christ, and the wide open receiver there to make the catch, Malcolm Davis. 14-7, Paly has the lead. And that is the Paly offense everybody was expecting to see that we just did not see in the first quarter. They seemed a little lethargic, receivers dropping balls. Fortunately for the Paly offense, that one was not dropped.
Absolutely.
He was
Davis,
determined to catch that one.
Davis had a couple drops already, but made the catch when he needed it.
They kick off from Foam. Returned out by Monroe. Monroe has room on the near side, midfield to the 40, and there he goes. Dakari Monroe returns the kickoff, touchdown Mitty.
And there's a statement by Mitty following the 46-yard touchdown. Monroe returns it all the way to the house. He broke free of everyone by midfield, and it was free sailing.
A 99-yard touchdown run on the kickoff return by Dakari Monroe, and just like that, here comes Mitty. They're having a lot of success on those kickoffs.
Yes, they are. The first one with the fumble got it up to the 30, and now a score.
Now the point after attempt coming up on the way, and it is good from Daniel Rice. And the game is tied with 4:22 to go in the second quarter, 14-14.
Well, I don't think anyone's surprised with this. These two great powerhouses tied up. Just a few minutes left in the half.
And it's been the big plays.
It has been. It has been. All these scores have either been set up or scored on big plays. Not much pounding away offensively. It's definitely been big plays and really big kickoff returns by the Mitty Monarchs.
Certainly not a dink and dunk style offense, as they like to say. When these teams have been having scores, they're big pass plays or kickoff returns. But when you have two great teams like this, you just never can forecast how a game will go. Never. You just don't know. A few moments ago, we were saying, oh, it's a real defensive showdown. And now it seems like it's a shootout all of a sudden.
It can change just like that. And these teams will match each other blow for blow. I have a feeling this will come down to the last couple minutes.
The way it should be when you have two top 10 teams in the Bay Area. Malcolm Davis on the return to the 40-yard line, brought down by Eric Sarkis.
One thing very apparent to me here in just under a half of football, just the speed and the quickness of these Paly backs and receivers. I mean, between Davis and Tolbert, they've really been able to shake off tackles.
Absolutely. First and 10 from the Paly 40-yard line. Gives to Tolbert up the middle. No gain on the play. Michael Jimenez in on the stop. A good-sized crowd here in the Paly marching band in attendance. They're down on the track, awaiting their halftime performance. Good-sized contingent from Archbishop Mitty, too, coming up from San Jose.
Right, one of the larger crowds we've seen here at Palo Alto.
Quick drop for Christ on second down, and the pass is complete for the first time tonight to Deontay Williams. Foley, Kyle Evans, and Chandler Ramirez combining there for the stop. The Deontay Williams fan club in front of us. Somebody with a Williams number 80 jersey very, very happy to see that reception.
Everyone's got some fans in this large crowd, and I mean, great turnout on the Paly side, and Mitty as well. And we've got actually some new stadium improvements that have enhanced the experience here at Palo Alto High School.
But they still can't house the broadcasters in the press box. 3rd and 2, pitch coming to the near side. First down. Here comes Matt Tolbert down to the 40 of Mitty. Gain of 13 yards on the carry. Robert O'Leary making the stop. And there again, you just see that relentless momentum for Tolbert. As soon as he has a little bit of space, there goes the speed.
Tolbert truly does run downfield, makes many people miss. He can use his jukes, and he can run through people as well. And there you see a good look at the new concession stand and ticket booth here, just opened today for the first game.
Oh, I didn't know that. Flag down, trying to set up a screenplay. Chris was looking for Tolbert, not really on the same page, but we'll see what the penalty marker is. I did not know that was brand new.
It is, absolutely.
I also have not been here in like 5-6 years, so.
Well, I'm here every day,
and more often.
And I've seen the improvement as it goes on. Just took the fence down yesterday, opened it up today, and it looks to be a big hit. As
it's beautiful. I tell you what, I was very, very tempted by the hamburgers and the hot dogs that they had over there with the open grills. Just smelled, looked so good.
Absolutely, they've moved from a small green shack to a nice, much larger building that'll accommodate all sorts of needs for the Paly sports teams and for the hungry fans as well.
So after the penalty, a hold on Paly, the Vikings now back at their own 45-yard line. Chris rolls to his right, throws on the run, and completes the pass into mid territory. Catch made by Malcolm Davis, brought down by Kyle Evans. That seems to be a great matchup we have going on over there. Evans on defense covering Davis.
Absolutely, Davis has been targeted on a very large number of Chris passes, and come up big on the one touchdown, and that one certainly is nothing small either.
2nd down and 13 now for the Vikings. Pitch coming to the near side. Justin Gates Mouton run out of bounds. Gain of about 1, maybe 2 yards there on the play. Daniel Rice tracked him down. You can see Earl Hansen, Steve Bono telling Keller Christ what the game plan should be here on 3rd and 13. Probably involving some form of deep pass.
And one interesting feature of this Paly offense is Chris actually runs over to the sideline every play to get the call.
Oh, they don't have the headsets in the helmets in high school. And a deep drop under pressure. Chris hit as he throws, and they will rule it an incomplete pass. That's one of those tuck rule-like plays. As the arm was in motion, Jason Sutton broke up the pass, potentially caused the fumble, but it's called on the field a pass. There is no instant replay.
There is none in
high school football. But as a Patriot fan, I'll say, oh, well, yeah, that was an incomplete pass, obviously. The arm was in motion, right?
Yeah, Paly will take that one. Just missed a disaster there. There were no Paly offensive players around, and Mitty could have taken that easily down to the end zone.
Mitty calling their 2nd time out of the half. You see Steve Bono there. I didn't catch who he was talking to, one of the Paly receivers. But of course, Bono, who, for our audience who does not know, was a backup quarterback for Joe Montana and Steve Young in the early 90s with the 49ers. That was Camden Santo of Paly, who Bono was talking to.
So 2 minutes and 17 seconds left here, 4th and 13 from the 44. Looks like Paly's going to punt. I mean, with this little time left, I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of trick play here. And I'm a little surprised that Paly's not going for it.
This is why you practice the 2-minute drill each week. As Keller Christ punts it away, and on the return for Mitty, Kyle Evans, brought down by McAllister. And with 2:06 to go before halftime, here comes the Mitty offense.
And you mentioned it, the 2-minute drill. This is truly a test of the true 2-minute drill. They'll start from their own 19 with just a shade over 2 minutes to go in the half.
And they're trying to break this stalemate. 14-14 the score. And it has been a neck-and-neck type game throughout.
And a score here could really send Mitty with some momentum into the half. On the other hand, a Paly stop could send them with some momentum. So this is really a defining series.
And a handoff on first down to Kyle Evans. And Evans looks like he might be a little bit shaken up, maybe looking at that left ankle there. Spencer Drazovic, senior captain. Being recruited read by several schools. Drazovic.
Absolutely, Drazovic. He plays center on the offense and plays both ways.
1:25 and counting to go here the first half. Oh, the pressure and the throw released and caught. Unbelievable that Wyatt Hansen even was able to get that ball off. And the catch made by Goulart Dakota.
And you saw number 15 in green, Andrew Frick there, a touchdown saving tackle just on the shoelaces there.
And now into Paly territory, 1st and 10, Mitty at the Viking 41-yard line. They only have one timeout remaining, and the clock rolling with 1:08 to go in the second quarter. Single back behind Hansen, quick drop. It's a swing pass off the fingertips of Dakari Monroe. I don't exactly know why you would go to the swing pass when you need to hurry up a little bit and you're trying to get downfield efficiently.
Yep, that's, well, Coach Hanniger knows what he's doing. He's coached many solid Mitty squads in recent years, and but that's right, it is a little bit of a puzzling call.
Now on second down, deep drop. Hansen looks for right hit as he throws, and it's caught by Jacob Wesson, who gets leveled afterwards by Jay-Sean Gates-Mouton. That's what happens when you have the ball kind of just hanging aloft there in the air. Makes the receiver a bit helpless, and he just gets nailed.
And you saw Jay-Sean Gates-Mouton get right under the Mitty receiver and flip him on his back.
The clock continues to roll, 45 seconds before halftime. It's a 1st down and 10, option. Handoff up the middle. Pick up a yard or two, but that just keeps the clock going, and they only have one timeout left. Deontay Williams in on the stop there for the Vikings.
Mitty will hold on to its timeout and hurry up to the line.
They're going with the single back formation. The fullback O'Leary in the backfield. Quick drop, passes knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Larry Allen got a hand in there, breaking up the pass.
You mentioned Larry Allen's height, and truly takes advantage of it there. It'll be 3rd and 7 with just 18.5 seconds left in the half.
And of course, the question is, if Mitty does not convert here, do they just try to go for a field goal?
Well, we haven't seen the range.
We don't know the range of the kicker, but we're talking
somewhere around 40, 41. It's an option, and the quarterback, Hansen, keeps it himself, heading downfield inside the 20.
That's right near the first down
It's very
line.
close. Eric Henderson making the tackle for Paly, and it looks like it is a first down. And a timeout called by the Monarchs. That is the last Mitty timeout of this first half, with 12 seconds remaining.
12 seconds left in the half. Mitty uses their last timeout. They've got 17 yards to the end zone. Probably 2 passing plays, but if they run it, this would certainly be the last play of the half.
No, you cannot run here. That's
gotta
go for the end zone.
Absolutely, or a quick route to the side and get the receivers out of bounds. But they're close enough for Hansen to take a shot into the end zone, and he's got 2 chances to do that.
Well, coming up at halftime, we will have performances from the Palo Alto High School marching bands, along with, I believe, the cheer team of Palo Alto and the dance team, or there's the cheer team, and then another spirit squad.
I believe there are 2 teams from Palo Alto High School that will be performing.
We will carry those for you. Meanwhile, back to action on first down. Hansen throwing for the left corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Mitty. What a catch. Andrew Scott with the catch right inside the front left pylon. And the Monarchs have the lead.
Well, the 6'4" Scott there, Hansen was looking to lob it up and use his height. Instead, made him turn around and catch it low near the pylon there, but a fantastic catch.
Yeah, not the greatest of throws there, forcing his receiver really to twirl around.
And Scott made a play there.
Beautiful catch.
Absolutely.
The point after attempt on the way is good by Daniel Rice. And a quiet Padre Field heading into halftime. 6 seconds left to go before the half, and Mitty, after being up 7-0, then down 14-7, now is up 21-14 as the teams alternate leads and ties.
Yeah, that's certainly deflated the Paly crowd here heading into halftime. 6.2 seconds left. Unless we have a magical return here from Malcolm Davis, we're looking at Mitty having a 7-point lead and taking that into the half.
And all of a sudden, a momentum shift as Mitty, coming to Paly, has the lead. They're very content because it's hard to really say who outplayed who, because neither team, I think, has been playing to their potential whatsoever in this game. But that's what happens when you have 2 very evenly matched good teams, that good players will make the other good players struggle, and I think that has been the case a little bit here tonight. And it's plays such as that touchdown where it's great defense and not a great throw, but a phenomenal catch there by Scott gets the touchdown. And I don't know what's going on here, but the kickoff goes out of bounds, and Paly will get the ball at their own 40-yard line. I don't know if Earl Hansen will tell his offense to do anything, but
well, we've
why
seen,
do you kick it out of bounds in that situation?
You know,
no time elapsed.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a trade-off between either Malcolm Davis receiving from inside his own 10 or Christ throwing from his own 40. Not sure that was the right call by Coach Hanniger.
Kick out of bounds. Against Mitty.
But he did leave Paly and Chris with an opportunity to give a big play a shot here.
Paly will begin at their own 35. It's in the NFL when you begin at the 40 for kickoffs. Chris will throw. Then this is the last play of the first half. The pass incomplete. But the clock did not move.
The clock did not move. That's a little break from the home scorekeeper here at Paly.
Well, they're saying now there's 3.4 seconds, but the problem is they didn't start the clock.
Right.
And there was a timeout call.
Paly did call timeout.
Oh, a timeout by Paly. Okay.
The Vikings did call timeout right after the play, but
that doesn't make a difference. It was an incomplete pass.
Oh no, it was complete.
Oh, it was complete.
He just had his knee down.
Oh, okay.
And
oh, you're right. Yeah, now they're moving the marker.
But I do believe that more than 1.8 seconds would have ticked off the clock there. But really, at this point, it doesn't matter. 3.4 seconds or less. It's just one play left for Chris and the Vikings.
They're just throwing 8-yard out routes right now. Not exactly going for the Hail Mary. It's only a 7-point game, so you don't need to think that far in advance. But it's just so wonderful to see here. All of these community members, parents, alumni, and of course the students, the band. It's a wonderful scene here at Hondray Field, and obviously a lot of it has to do with the recent success that Palo Alto has had.
Absolutely, the Palo Alto program winning the state championship in 2010, advancing to the CCS semifinals last year. And you know, it also has to do with the opponent. Mitty is here, and next week Paly will host a second big game in a row when they take on the Gun Titans. They're crosstown rivals, so expect another big crowd for that one.
There's Paly principal Phil Winston, who broke into the Palo Alto School District back when I attended Gun, and he became a dean of students there. Little known fact.
Yes, Winston. From Gun, we wonder where his allegiance will be next week for that Paly Gun matchup.
I think I have a good feeling I know the answer to that. Is Chris under pressure, flag thrown, and Chris is sacked, the ball pops loose. They'll call the ball dead, and then we'll see what the flag is.
And the scoreboard has turned off, not just going to zeros, but it has turned off here at Hondray Field.
They are just so displeased with that final touchdown. And it is halftime. Whether the scoreboard says so or not. Well, now it's back.
Palo Alto, penalties
and the teams will head into the locker room. I would imagine Coach Earl Hansen will have some harsh words for his Vikings, and Coach Hanniger of the Monarchs. Probably not. Neither coach will be particularly pleased with his team's performance, but Coach Hanniger and the Monarchs do take a 7-point lead into the half.
So the Paly faithful are not fully pleased with how their Vikings performed in the first half, but they are certainly within striking distance. 21-14 the score here at Hondray Field, with the Archbishop Mitty Monarchs in the lead. Now some halftime performances on the field. We will step aside to let you enjoy some dancing and some music, and we'll see you at the end of halftime for the second half.
Welcome back to Andre Field in Palo Alto, California. It's halftime with the Mitty Monarchs leading the Palo Alto Vikings 21-14 in what started off as a defensive showdown. Very quickly became an offensive shootout towards the end of the half, but with two phenomenal Bay Area high school teams here on display in Palo Alto, who knows what we have in store for us in the second half. I'm Trevor Felch alongside Grant Raffel. Glad you could be with us here for the Midpeninsula Game of the Week on the Palo Alto Media Center Community Cable Network. And with our entire crew of volunteers from Palo Alto High School, Gunn High School, it's great. With all of the community out on the town tonight as well at Andre Field, a real good night for Palo Alto, you can say. And obviously the partisans here at Andre Field are hoping that the home team might be able to mount a little bit of a comeback. But Grant, Mitty looked very strong there at the end, and the Paly offense just has not, other than one or two big plays here and there, has not been able to get that groove going that they did against San Benito last week in the season opener, and they did all season last year.
Right, we saw flashes of brilliance there from Chris. He hit Malcolm Davis for that 46-yard touchdown, but other than that, pretty lackluster half for the Vikings. On the other side of the ball, the Mitty Monarchs really played a solid half of football. Slow start by both teams, but Mitty did pull away. They had the big plays when they needed them, including that touchdown in the final final seconds of the first half. So we'll see what the second half brings, but as we've said all along, this one should come down to the wire. Two evenly matched, very solid powerhouse football schools here.
As you said going into halftime, I wonder what Earl Hansen had to say for the Paly team. It was not a terrible half, but it just was a very competitive, intense half. And Paly perhaps did not fulfill their potential of what they were hoping to have there in the first 30 minutes, but we'll see. It's an entirely separate game. And as we were talking about at the top of the show, the Paly players were saying the one consistent theme in practices this week was to play all four quarters, because against San Benito they really struggled in the second and third quarters, and then just absolutely went crazy offensively and held San Benito scoreless in the fourth quarter.
Right. Well,
so now it might be a similar replication.
We'll have to see if the Paly defensive saves enough energy to come out that strong in the second half. We did see in the first half a lot of just the players weren't sure of themselves where they were going. I expect a lot of that to change in the second half as they're a little more comfortable in this big game atmosphere. But we can only watch and see here as Mitty kicks from our left to right, and Palo Alto will receive.
Bill Langlois kicks off for the Monarchs, and the kickoff goes right on the sideline side of the front pylon there. So Paly will begin at their own 35-yard line after the kickoff goes out of bounds. And that is our second consecutive kickoff that has gone out of bounds here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw...
What is going on kicking-wise?
Oh, we saw Mitty at the end of the first half kick it out of bounds intentionally, so Paly couldn't do a return there. They were kicking it on the right side while Malcolm Davis was on the left. Certainly didn't mean to go out of bounds, but they're a little afraid of Malcolm Davis and his speed on the return game.
So back to work goes Keller Christ, and the Palo Alto offense starting it at I formation with Tolbert as the deep back. The give is to Tolbert. And one of the two Paly touchdowns back to the first half picks up a couple of yards. Tyler Young makes the stop. for Mitty. And Chris may have a fellow college coach watching him.
That's right.
In the stands here tonight.
Well, we saw David Shaw, the head coach of the Stanford Cardinal. He was here the first half, presumably watching Christ. And of course, this right before Stanford takes on USC tomorrow evening.
Split backs behind Christ on 2nd and 8. Looks right. Now fires over the middle. Has a man, but throws beyond the intended receiver, Deontay Williams. And we're mentioning that it's a USC Stanford game, and David Shaw is here, but Keller Christ has an offer already as a junior from USC. So wouldn't you expect maybe the USC head coach, Lane Kiffin, to be here tonight? I, for some reason, don't think Lane is here. I think he's a little preoccupied with preparations for tomorrow.
Right, I'm sure they both are, but...
3rd and 8, Chris drops back to pass. Breaks one tackle, tries to spin away from other tacklers and just can't quite force his way forwards far enough for the first down. He does pick up about 4 yards or so on the play, but it will be 4th and short. Upcoming here for the Vikings.
Well, it's just that mentality and that attitude that Chris has. He goes till he's taken down. Unfortunately for the Vikings, he didn't get all the way to the first down marker.
But Keller Christ is still in there, but this time as the punter, Dakari Monroe awaits Christ's punt, fields it from his own 23-yard line. And good special teams there on the coverage by the Vikings. A 5-yard return for Monroe as Mitty will take over. 10:22 to go in the 3rd quarter. I'm Trevor Felch with Grant Raffel. Glad you could be with us. We're at Hondray Field in Palo Alto. And again, next Friday night, we'll be here as well when the Gun Titans visit the Palo Alto Vikings. It will be the Trevor vs. Grant Bowl, if you will. Yours truly, a Gun alum, and Grant is senior at Paly. Quarterback keeper there for Wyatt Hansen on first down. Dropped for a small loss of about 2 yards by Spencer Drazovich.
And you mentioned the Gun Titans. They're off to a solid start this season. 2-0 start.
2-0.
Playing again tonight. That could be another great game here that we will be bringing to you on the Midpeninsula Media Network.
They host Cappuccino tonight. I won't make any coffee jokes. I made enough of those last week during the Gun broadcast. Deflected in the air and almost caught. Almost intercepted at first by Matt Tolbert, and then almost caught by Kyle Evans. Look at that. Wow.
Tolbert got his hand in there, and the ball was just floating up in the air for anyone to take, but just missed, and it'll be a long 3rd down for the Monarchs.
3rd and 13 at the Mitty 21-yard line. You know, the scene last week at what I like to call Gun Field and Haldane Track was wonderful. There was excitement there. And back when I was young, in like 2003, I think, that was the last time Gun even made it to the CCS playoffs. A short carry there on 3rd down brings up 4th and 10 coming up for Mitty. Drazovich again in on the stop. But, you know, all of a sudden there is excitement there again. And it's different. I mean, what Paly has made it to the CCS playoffs how many years in a row now? Even winning in 2010 the state championship. Expectations have been not quite as high there at Gun, but there is excitement, and it's great to see. And next week should be a fantastic matchup. Paly can't quite be looking ahead to that game, though, like we can as broadcasters.
Absolutely. We've got a full half of football to be played.
Flags down on the punt.
Bounces out of bounds just across midfield. We'll have to see what the officials have in store for us. And there's Earl Hansen in his 24th season as the head coach of Paly, a record of 176, 86, and 3 ties. He doesn't look too pleased with what the officials are about to say. He doesn't often show excitement.
No, he doesn't, but behind the scenes, he gets the job done. As you mentioned, Trevor, he's put together a fantastic record here at Palo Alto High School and really achieved legend status here among the students and
have an illegal
the fans
formation,
as well.
6-man line on Mitty, 5-yard penalty.
Well, the penalty
keep 4th down.
was on Mitty. Looked like a false start, the ref was saying. So they'll move back 5 yards and punt it again.
Another punt coming up. Hansen also operates as the athletic director, in addition to his duties as the head football coach. This is Daniel Rice punting away or check that McAndrews punting, and Paly's returner Malcolm Davis will just let the ball bounce, and actually a better punt there from Mitty on the repunt. Paly will start at their own 33-yard line.
Yeah, a bit of a curious play there by Davis, just let it sail over his head, but instead of returning it, and we've seen Mitty has been a little afraid to kick to Davis on the kickoffs, but Paly will take over from their own 34-yard line.
And the give to Tolbert up the middle. Pick up of 4 yards on the carry for Tolbert. Hanniger making the stop. I believe the son of Mitty's head coach.
Presumably. Those were 4 tough, hard-earned yards by Tolbert right up the gut. Be 2nd and 6.
Split banks behind Chris. And Chris carrying Paly back after a bit of a challenging first half. Pass is complete to Malcolm Davis. Looks like it should be enough there for the first down.
Yep. Davis did catch it, but his knee was down as he made the catch.
You can see on that far side of the field there on the Mitty side, big crowd from Mitty. They don't have quite the size of the bleachers here, but they're standing on the track. Very impressive as the pitch comes to Tolbert near side, brought down at midfield.
Tolbert just didn't have the opportunity to bring it around and cut upfield there as the Mitty defense really cut him off.
Yeah, good hustle there by Jacob Wesson making the tackle. We were talking in the first half how once Tolbert cuts that corner, look out. Wesson was sprinting as fast as Tolbert to try and make sure that was not going to happen.
Absolutely. I imagine Coach Hanniger had a few words to say about that to his squad during the half, and a little better performance on that play.
Motion from right to left by Malcolm Davis. 5-step drop. Chris throws underneath. Caught. First down inside the Mitty 45. Down to the Monarch 40-yard line. Jay-Sean Gates Mouton with the catch. Wrapped up by Tyler Young.
One of the 2 Gates Moutons on the team. In fact, their older brother Morris graduated last year. A little confusing, to say the least, to have 3 players with the same last name on the team.
And that's when, as the play-by-play, we refer to the first name or the nickname.
Chris from his back foot throwing deep down the right side, and it is intercepted. There's a flag down.
A late flag there.
A late flag thrown there by the back judge. It could go as a pass interference potentially.
There was certainly some contact
It certainly
there.
had some contact, and the question is which way would it maybe go? That was Drew Mount applying the coverage for Mitty. Well, it looks like the call
Pass
is the interception.
interference on the offense.
Okay.
Penalty is declined. Result of the play is an interception. First down, Mitty.
So the interception for Mount, despite the offensive pass interference by the Vikings. Let's see here if we can tell. And it looked like Chris threw off his back foot, which may account for why it was such a short throw.
It was a short throw there. Just underthrown enough to make it out of reach.
And that is Kyle Evans. Kyle Evans with the interception for Mitty. And the Monarchs beginning at their own 9-yard line.
And Evans has really made his presence felt throughout this game. You've heard his name on a number of occasions with some big plays tonight.
And give him and the rest of the secondary for the Monarchs credit for keeping Chris in check, why he really hasn't been able to fully be comfortable there. And then also the pass rush has been terrific. How many times has he been hurried at least in this game? Here's a handoff, near side, and speaking of whom, Kyle Evans there, the ball carrier. Andrew Frick makes the tackle for the Vikings. It's just so great. It's something here, having just broadcast in college for a couple of years, you never see the players playing on both offense and defense, but here, there's no rest for these guys. They are playing every snap. So Kyle Evans makes the interception. That's good. Well, okay, now go run the ball.
Yep, if they've got talented guys in high school, they use them as much as they can, for sure.
3rd and 3. Paly trying to come up with a stop, and it looks like they might, and very close. Evans again there on the carry.
Looks to be a yard or two short.
It was Justin Rittman of Paly, or Larry Allen, check that, who made the first stop, and it does look like Mitty is a yard short. They will not try to risk it, despite it just being 4th and 1, but obviously not being able to convert on a 4th down here would give Paly a football in the red zone. The punt team is on for the Monarchs, 4:28 and counting to go in the 3rd quarter. And it's a good punt. And Davis will just let the ball bounce all the way inside the 30. Stop at the Paly 26.
Another line drive punt by McAndrews, and those have really been effective for Mitty with about 20 yards or more of roll, 58 yards on the punt. I mean, Mitty has been winning the field position game because of McAndrews' punts and their rollout, which really puts Paly back.
It's just like the statistic of yards after catch, the yards after bouncers. As you know, being an avid golfer, you can drive it 200 yards, but then it could really be 400 yards on a rock-hard fairway.
Exactly.
I drive it about 75 yards, but really it's 200 yards after the roll. Justin Gates-Mouton, the ball carrier, running into the Paly bench. 21-14, Mitty with the lead over Paly. Four-yard gain there on the carry for Gates-Mouton. Paly senior, listed at 5'6", while his brother Jay Sean listed at 5'9". 2nd down and 6 now from the Viking 31-yard line. Paxton and I behind behind Christ. Two receivers wide to the left. It is to Justin Gates-Mouton. And nowhere to go there for him. Maybe actually a loss of one, courtesy of Drew Mounts. And you just don't feel that rhythm of the Paly offense.
No,
they aren't really establishing ball control.
We really haven't seen it. They've faced many more third downs than Coach Hansen and the offense would like. This one, another key 3rd down and 7.
Chris drops back to pass, flying down on the play, and the pass is intercepted. Intercepted by Mitty's Jacob Wesson. We'll have to see what the penalty marker is. It was thrown right as Chris was snapping the football. But it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of debate going down on the field as to who should be, yeah, it's an illegal shift on Paly.
An illegal motion on the offense. The penalty is refused.
The second interception.
It is many drives. Wow. The past 2 Paly drives have ended abruptly because of interceptions thrown by Keller Christ. And the first one was just underthrown. This one just seemed to kind of be on the wrong side of the receiver. It was a hard throw.
Chris not on top of his game tonight. Just make the challenge a little greater for the Vikings.
And the Paly 39-yard line. And the pitch goes to Corey Monroe, brought down by Jay-Sean Gates-Mouton. No gain on the play. You're right. Chris just does not look as sharp as he often does. He doesn't have that precision. He's throwing lots of good, strong throws other than that first interception. But the accuracy just isn't quite there. And then there have been numerous dropped passes on great throws, which really should be completions, and they just have not been.
He's had his throws and he's had his misses. Unfortunately, the receivers of Paly weren't there.
Hand off to Phil Langlow. Gunnar Felch with the stop. And that brings up, it's already 3rd down.
We've sure seen a lot of 3rd downs on both sides of the ball today. Not many extended drives in this game. Not much rhythm, to be honest, in this contest.
Now we've played 10 minutes in this 3rd quarter. No scoring so far in the 3rd. 21-14, Mitty still has the lead. Now facing a 3rd and 8. Hansen back to pass, scrambles out of the pocket, under pressure, and he will be sacked. Sacked back at the 47-yard line. Larry Allen was there, as was Eric Anderson. 2 defensive leaders. Anderson will get most of the credit there for the sack. An emphatic way to give a quick 3 and out to Mitty after that interception thrown by Chris.
Just a key play there by the Vikings. Push them back to 4th and long, where the Mitty Monarchs will have to punt.
Loss of 6 back to the 43. Now Mitty will see if they can pin Paly deep in their own territory. It bounces inside the 10 and down at the 1-yard line by Jacob Wesson. No, he went into the end zone. I thought he stopped at the 1-yard line. For Paly's sake, that was scary there for a moment.
I was close to Paly starting their drive in the shadow of their end zone. There's an example of McAndrews' low line drive kicks costing the Mitty Monarchs, as Paly will bring it out to the 20 to start their drive.
55 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. Yeah, if you want that, you see in the professional leagues, in college, the high arcing kicks when they want to try and pin the team deep in their own territory. First down, first pass is complete to Jay-Sean Gates-Mouton. Stopped by Spencer Erdman. So Chris will try and bounce back after consecutive drives. Ended in interceptions for the Palo Alto offense. Now 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. The play action. Bootleg rolling right, and Christ connects again, this time with Malcolm Davis in another first down. Brought down by Evans. Now Christ is looking like his usual efficient self.
There are two.
Looks like Davis was a little slow to get up.
2 accurate throws by Chris in a row, maybe finding his rhythm. 2 quick first downs for the Viking offense. We'll see if they can keep this going, as two positive plays in a row will help their cause.
And Mitty might need to start getting some pressure on Chris. He's just sort of standing in the pocket, and when you give him that time, he gets comfortable and makes those beautiful throws. Now 1st and 10. Chris goes to the air again. The pass too high, intended for Jay-Sean Gates-Mouton. Spencer Erdman on the coverage. Paly fans want a flag, but I didn't see much contact, and the pass was out of the reach of Gates-Mouton anyhow.
The Paly sideline was looking for a pass interference call. Chris simply overthrew his receiver, and it'll be 2nd and 10 from the Viking 43.
But in that overthrow, he showed the strength of his arm.
That is the way that
you can spin it one way.
Exactly.
Now Chris, look out from behind, and down he goes. Sacked back at the Paly 35-yard line for a loss of 8 by Connor Walsh and Chandler Ramirez.
And despite Paly's 2 quick first downs, it'll bring up a 3rd and 18. This is just the type of 3rd and long that they've been trying to avoid throughout the game.
And that is how the 3rd quarter comes to an end here at Hondray Field. 3rd and long to start the 4th quarter for Paly. And heading to the 4th, Mitty leads Palo Alto 21-14. On a beautiful night, a crisp night on this final Friday night of summer. It's a beautiful summer day here in the Palo Alto area. It has turned into a bitterly cold winter evening, as it tends to do in the Bay Area.
It does. These players were out here yesterday practicing in 80-degree weather, and now out playing in probably in the 50s with might feel a little colder.
There's Kirsten Baird, Gunn High School senior, television anchor for the morning announcements there at Gunn High School. One of our fantastic crew members, our director Ethan, who was at practice yesterday, watching with us as we begin our preparations, and all of the young men and women of the Palo Alto Media Center, many whom are either Gunn Titans or Paly Vikings, and they all work as one.
This has been my first chance to work with the crew, but it's been a great experience.
We would never know this is your debut, Grant. And on 3rd and 18, flying down as Keller Chris scrambling around, and he fumbles the football right at midfield. We'll have to see what the flag is, and also see who recovered that fumble by Chris. There's all sorts of sloppiness and chaos going on that opening play of the 4th quarter. That was not pretty. It's a hold against Paly, so nothing pretty going on for the Vikings.
So on that 3rd and 18, we saw Chris run it for about 12 or 13 yards before the ball was knocked out of his grasp. Looks like Mitty will choose to accept this penalty, which will bring up a 3rd and 23
Holding.
from Paly's own 30-yard line.
Offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat 3rd down.
Or 3rd and 18 or 28 yards. A long ways to go for Paly. Now, I don't think when we look at the final statistics of this game, the rushing numbers will not quite be as impressive for Tolbert, for the entire team. Last week, 293 total rushing yards for Paly. They certainly are not going to match the passing total either. Chris threw for 248 yards, but the numbers themselves were not great, where he was just 12 and 30. And a screenplay, Tolbert coming to the near side. Picks up some good yardage, but not quite even to the original line of scrimmage. Brings up a 4th and long.
On 3rd and 33, Hansen and the Vikings electing to go with the run.
Just run the ball.
A solid gain of 21 yards, but not enough for the Vikings as they face such a long 3rd and 33. They'll have to punt it away.
Chris did the punt. And the pair of Monarchs back to receive. They have the 7-point lead and get the ball back now. It's a high arcing punt. Down by Paly at about the Mitty 30-yard line. Yeah, big game next week also for Mitty. They face off with Sarah High School, who I would say is maybe one of their lead rivals in the WCAL.
Absolutely, the WCAL, as we all know, very strong athletically.
Yeah, the thing is just every game in that league is so difficult. You get Bellarmine, you get Valley Christian, St. Francis, St. Ignatius. These are all teams who routinely are in the game of the week top 25 articles. Hansen going deep over the middle, caught at midfield. An excellent catch by Evans and a first down into Paly territory. Kyle Evans making the catch right over Malcolm Davis.
Malcolm Davis and Matt Tolbert with the double coverage on Evans. Quarterback Hansen for the Monarchs able to sneak it in there. Just a great throw and great catch.
Initially, I was thinking this might be picked off.
Absolutely.
And then I saw the adjustment made by Evans there. An excellent catch.
It floated up there, but Evans came down with it.
Now play action for Hansen, and not on the same page as his receiver there on the far side. Wesson was running about a 15-yard out route instead of the fly route down the sideline. Jayshawn Gates-Mouton with the coverage.
Well, the student section in front of us has shrunken a bit.
It has dwindled.
Since halftime. Not quite as excited as they were. We haven't had a score since the end of the first half, but still got 10 minutes to go in this game with Mitty up by just this one score.
They couldn't handle the cold weather. Now an offset I formation to the right, the option. Hansen will keep it himself instead of electing to pinch, and wrapped up for a loss of about 2 yards on the play by Jayshawn Gates-Mouton. Look at that surge in the rush there by the Paly front seven. Applying the pressure on Hansen, making sure with that option run he wasn't going to get anywhere. Brings up 3rd down and 12 at the 42 of Paly. Inside 9:40 to go in the game. Hansen back to pass, going deep over the middle, incomplete. The receiver, Conchinola, saying that somebody was grabbing him. Tully McAllister with the coverage. And it's 4th down now for Mitty, and here comes the punt team. So Keller Christ will get the ball back. And he needs to do something about it.
He does. Keller Christ and the Vikings have had their chances on offense, have not taken advantage.
With Mitty leading 21-14. Both teams undefeated. This game will be settled in the final minutes, as was expected. The punt by Mark McAndrews, fielded from the 3-yard line. Coming near side, Davis trying to shen off the pursuing tacklers. Picks up about 7 or 8 yards on the return. Penalty markers down on the play. Jason Sutton making the tackle there for the Mitty Monarchs.
I'm not sure Coach Hansen will be happy about that. Junior Malcolm Davis receiving the ball on the 3-yard line. Didn't let it bounce into the end zone. And we've seen the troubles the Vikings have had on offense. And starting from the 10-yard line will not do them any favors.
On the return, illegal block in the back. Gives Palo Alto half the distance to the goal line. First down.
And with that penalty, Paly is just going in the wrong direction right now. A long field to work with 9:19 to go here in the fourth. 21-14 Mitty. And this is, Grant, tell me if you think otherwise, but if you're the Mitty defense, this is when you bring the house, when you bring the pressure. Mount the pressure, push Paly back, being at their own 5. Tolbert gets the carry. A little breathing room now, out to the 10 at least.
Yeah, Tolbert did his job there, gave Chris and the offense a little more room. They'll face a second down and a long 4, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, for Paly to have to go 95 yards, the Mitty defense has got to be feeling pretty good. They've really controlled the field all game in terms of field position.
And 2nd and 5. The slot throw drops. Throw right to Kayshawn Johnson, and he just let the ball slip through his fingers. Nice little play fake there.
See, this is what we've been talking about. The good throws Chris does make. He hasn't been getting the help from his receivers that he usually does. Another drop pass, and now it'll be 3rd down and 4 with the Vikings deep on their own side of the field. Just really a critical play in this game if Paly thinks they're going to have any chance of winning.
Tolbert lines up behind Crest. 2 receivers left, none to the right. Crest throwing a screen to Tolbert on the far side, and he stopped short of the first down. Excellent tackle there. About 2 yards short of the first down. Great job by Spencer Erdman hustling over to stop Tolbert before he could find some open space.
Exactly, Erdman there, as we had said earlier, he cuts off Tolbert before he can turn upfield, pulls him to no gain on the play, or a very small one, if any. Paly will be forced to punt again, and Mitty will again have good field position, presumably, as Chris is back to punt.
And it's a low punt, fielded on the ground, and Chris hits just a bloop. It takes a favorable bounce for Paly and actually goes beyond the 40-yard line. For a moment, that looked like it could be a disaster.
That looked disastrous in the air. It was not a strong kick from Chris, a little off the side of his foot. And Mitty will take over from the Viking 41. Paly just hasn't seemed to be able to get Mitty deep in its own end, and the Mitty offense has been strong. To be honest, Coach Hansen and the Vikings are probably a little surprised that they're still within just 1 score of the Monarchs.
I'm surprised. There were 2 interceptions thrown by Chris in this half. No scoring by either team here in the second half, though. And on first down, a new cornerback in for, it is, that was Hansen, the pass incomplete. Gates Mouton on the coverage. And Chandler Ramirez, the intended receiver. But then it's just amazing. We have 7:41 to go in the fourth, and there has been no scoring in this second half. All 35 points of this game. First quarter, second quarter, and really the second quarter, there was just 1 touchdown in the first. This has not been that offensive shootout we were maybe thinking that the game was shifting towards there at halftime. Hansen on the play action, back to pass, plenty of time, fires over the middle and connects. First down, Mitty inside the 20-yard line. That is Andrew Scott. Both Justin and Jayshawn, Gates Mouton,
with the stop. And a big gain there for the Mitty Monarchs of 26 yards. Down to the 14-yard line.
Quarterback Hansen for the Monarchs has really done an effective job this game. He's no Keller Christ, as the Vikings have, but he has really controlled the game well, made the good passes when he's needed them.
And now Mitty will head to the ground and breaking free up the middle, touchdown, Kyle Evans. And now Mitty is starting to pull away as the Monarchs find the end zone on the 13-yard touchdown run by Kyle Evans.
And with just over 7 minutes left, that's a crushing blow to the Vikings. Mitty, with the point after, will go up 28-7.
And it has all just happened so quickly here, with Mitty driving downfield.
Yep.
The extra point from Daniel Rice on the way, and it is good. 7:09 to go in the fourth quarter, and the largest lead of the game for either team, the Mitty Monarchs, ahead of Palo Alto, 28-14. An uphill climb coming up for Keller Christ and the Vikings.
Yes, they would really appreciate a good return here by Malcolm Davis or whoever Mitty does kick it to. But the bottom line is the Paly offense needs to get going here in this game if they want to have any chance. This is really a defining drive for these Vikings. And we'll see what they can pull out of the hat. Maybe a trick play is up Coach Hansen's sleeve, but they've got to get something going if they want to think about winning this game, because Mitty has assumed complete control at this point.
And you can see the Monarch faithful over there on the far side of the field along the train tracks are very content so far with the performance of their Archbishop Mitty Monarchs. The Paly return out across the 25-yard line from Davis. So back out comes Keller Christ in the Viking offense. Tonight's game on the Palo Alto Media Center is brought to you in part by Asian Box. The Box is a restaurant that bridges the gap between fast casual and your favorite neighborhood joint right across the way there, across Embarcadero from where we are at Town and Country Shopping Center. Delicious food over there. I like getting the chicken with brown rice, and I forget what the sauce, but there's a good spicy sauce over there.
One of the many restaurants frequented by Paly students.
Oh, I would think so. Chris to pass, throws and completes to Deontay Williams. Williams across midfield and finally pushed out of bounds at the 46-yard line of Mitty. Mount pushed him out.
And Deontay Williams, Keller Christ connects with him there for really a spark that the Vikings need. It's gotten the crowd back into it. They've crossed now into Monarch territory with just under 7 minutes left.
And lots of yards after the catch there. One of the keys to this game that we thought Chris had to establish that passing game as Tolbert has nowhere to go. You can see his jersey get grabbed there by Thomas Hudson. Yeah, the Paly students, the Town and Country Shopping Center there, certainly have the luck compared to when I was at Gunn. There was nowhere that you would walk to within a mile.
Yep. Paly students love going over there, and they get some great food at lunchtime.
Another one of our sponsors, Howie's Artisan Pizza there. And on 2nd and 9, Christ completes the pass near a first down. And that is Jay-Sean Gates-Mouton with the catch. Should be enough for the Paly first down. And we will have to start keeping an eye on the clock. Remember, the clock stops with
every first down, and then we'll start once the chains are reset. So now with under 5:50 to go here in the fourth quarter, Paly down 2 scores. Both teams have all 3 timeouts at their disposal. First and 10 Paly at the 34 of Mitty, and Tolbert gets the handoff for a gain of 2. Stopped by Jason Sutton. And pretty soon though, Earl Hansen might have to start going to a predominantly passing oriented game plan here.
Yeah, you're very right, Trevor. I was just going to say that. Yeah, the clock continues to tick away as we have 5 minutes and 15 seconds left in this game. Paly not only has to score on this drive, but get the ball back from Mitty and score again just to tie this game up. And not much sense of urgency here from the Vikings, as now we're down to 5 minutes flat.
And a second down. And about 8 yards to go. Deep drop for Chris. Plenty of time. Throws right side. Complete to Malcolm Davis. And another first down. Kyle Evans on the stop. And that will move the chains again here for the Viking offense. Trying to mount a late surge here in the fourth quarter, down 28-14 with 4:45 and counting to go in the game.
And that pass has brought the Paly students to their feet again as Chris is under center.
And they need 2 scores. Play action, Chris looking for the end zone as a man, incomplete, and there's a flag down. Kayshawn Jackson, Johnson, the intended receiver. And that coverage was Lang Lewis, who seemed to be having a little bit of contact there with Johnson, and it is a pass interference against Lang Lewis. So a big break there for Paly, an excellent field position. What looks like will be might be a smart foul, first and goal.
Half the distance to the goal line, automatic first.
So a costly penalty there on the Mitty defense. 4:26 left in the fourth quarter. First and 10 now for the Vikings at the Mitty 13. You just can't do that type of penalty this far into your own territory. As what just happened with the Mitty defense, there's a scoreboard power outage.
We saw that very thing, the scoreboard going out right at the end of the first half, and again now not the best time for it.
So if you were to walk into the stadium, you would see that, and you would have no idea that there's a game going on right now.
Right.
We can see the scoreboard operators here next to us in the press box are scrambling, trying to solve this issue. They do, I believe, keep track of the game clock also on the field. And the scoreboard had gone out once in around halftime.
That's right.
But it very quickly came back, and right now they're fiddling with the scoreboard.
Well, a little delay here.
Antenna.
Little delay might get the Vikings regrouped, get them in the mindset for these final few minutes of the game. They're down on the Mitty 13-yard line, hoping to score quickly, and we could see maybe an onside kick here, or otherwise the Paly defense will have to come up big for the Vikings to get a chance at possibly tying this game. But no matter what, they've got to get a quick score here, as they've got just 13 yards between Christ and the end zone.
Well, tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Howie's Artisan Pizza, Town and Country Shopping Center right across the way from us. Here across Embarcadero from Palo Alto High School. As you see, our beautiful media center truck parked right outside of Hondray Field. Beautifully renovated over the summer by the one and only media center producer Chuck Alley. A true Renaissance man. And there still is no electricity here being
luckily
delivered to the scoreboard.
Luckily the field lights are still on, so
and we're still on the air, so
yeah, it's just the scoreboard problem. We saw the ref come over to the sideline here to talk to the press box scoreboard operator, and we've still got a delay.
And the referee also just went over to talk with the Mitty sideline. I think he has just decided they're going to play without a scoreboard. So this will make matters not much harder for the broadcasters. Won't know how much time is left, but there was 4 minutes and 23 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. As Paly now, after that pass interference penalty, has a 1st and 10 at the 13-yard line of the Monarchs. Split backs behind Christ. Quick drop from Christ, looks left, now rolls to his right, under pressure, throws down one defender, has a man wide open in the end, and it's dropped in the hands of Malcolm Davis, and he could not make the catch.
Davis didn't have anyone within a 10-yard radius of him, wide open, and that's at least his 3rd drop of the night. Disappointing there for Chris and the Vikings. That would have turned the game in a whole different direction.
What a play by Chris, though. Just throwing down the ensuing defenders.
Chris really scrambled in the backfield there. Broke free of multiple attempts.
And the perfect throw to the wide open Davis. It has been a challenging night for Malcolm Davis. 2nd and 10. Chris back to pass, steps up, he'll take it himself, weaves his way up the middle inside the 10, near the 5. Clock continues to roll, probably around 4 minutes now, and for those of you who might just be tuning in or stepped away, the scoreboard clock is not working. The scoreboard has no electricity, so we do not have time at our disposal. It is being kept on the field by the officials. And timeout.
It all just adds to the drama here at Hodray Field. Only, well, hopefully at least the players know.
The official just said 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay.
Oh, maybe he will give us periodic updates.
That would be helpful to us and all the fans.
It is 3rd and 5. Pitch Tolbert to the left side, trying to cut the corner. He's got the 1st down, and he has the touchdown.
Tolbert, with his great speed, just breaks free of all. He just simply outran all the Mitty defenders, broke it into the end zone on the left side.
2nd touchdown of the night for Matt Tolbert. This one from 8 yards out. Brings Paly within 1 score. Too much speed for the senior captain.
And the band is re-energized here at Palo Alto High School as the Vikings will try to get it within 7 points with this extra point.
And James Fogues, extra point out of the hold of Malcolm Davis. Coming up to bring Paly within 7. After the Tolbert touchdown. And the kick from the left-handed kicker is good. So is somewhere around 3:45 to 4 minutes left in the game. 28-21 the score in favor of Mitty. You know, at least here on your television screen, you know what the score is. Here in the in Hodray Field with the lights out on the scoreboard, they don't know the time, they don't know the score, the down, the distance, anything.
And Tolbert, you see him there catching a breath on the sideline. One of the few chances to rest he's had all game. He's been playing both ways. Really just having a great impact on this game for the Vikings. Now the question is, do you kick it and trust your defense with this much time left? I presume that's what the Vikings will do.
Well, they have time, and they do have all 3 timeouts remaining, so I would definitely kick for it to be
So
kick it as far as possible.
with the Vikings' first score since very early in the game, they've brought it back to a one-possession game and trying to get the crowd fired up again.
And they are. The students are standing again. And it's an onside kick, plainly fielded by Jordan Guginola, one of the primary wide receivers for Mitty. So they kicked it to the wrong guy there on the good hands team. And good field position here for Mitty, but Earl Hansen also knows that another score by Mitty and the game's over. 28-21, Mitty in the lead. So now what does Jake Hallis, the defense coordinator of Palo Alto, have dialed up? Will they try to mount the pressure or sort of step back and protect against the pass? Knowing that his grandfather or great-grandfather was Papa Bear, George Hallis, the legendary owner and coach of the Chicago Bears, well, they play hard-nosed blitz defense there with the Bears. They might be doing that here. Here comes the pressure. Hansen breaks one tackle. He won't escape the second and is sacked back inside the 35-yard line by Larry Allen. Allen has been wreaking havoc all night on Wyatt Hansen.
Larry Allen and Spencer Drazovic there with the sack. That's really a key play Paly needed, and it looks like they will take their first timeout to stop the clock with somewhere between 3 and 4 minutes left.
Somewhere. We are estimating with the scoreboard clock currently out of commission. So 2 timeouts remaining for Earl Hansen. And it's been intriguing looking at that Paly sideline. I've been seeing the quarterback's coach, Steve Bono, talking for several minutes now with his young quarterback, Keller Christ, trying to figure out just exactly what hasn't been working in this game so far. Christ has been making some great throws and drop catches that could be touchdowns, like what happened the last drive by Davis. There's nothing you can do when you're Chris other than just repeat that throw.
And of course, Steve Bono, he's been doing this for a while. His own son, Christoph Bono, was the Viking quarterback 2 years ago when they won the state championship.
Second and a long ways to go, about 22 yards. Here's a pitch on the far side, one broken tackle, but none after that there for Chandler Ramirez. So a 3rd down and long coming up. Paly stopped by Romaine Ward, and by Gunnar Fell and Eric Anderson. So the second timeout now of the half used by Paly.
Palo Alto. It's their second charge timeout.
And we'll let you know whenever we know the time update, but we're sitting somewhere probably in the low to mid 3s left in this game as the Vikings try to stop the Monarchs here on 3rd and long and get possession back.
The big size crowd here at Andre Field. You can see there the standing students and the band, as Chris will hope that his defense can make a stop on 3rd down and 14 coming up, and let Paly have a chance offensively to catch up to the Mitty Monarchs, who lead by 7. Crucial play coming up here. Mitty with the ball at their own 43, facing about 3rd and 15. And the Monarchs spread wide with 3 receivers to the left and 2 to the right. Empty backfield other than Wyatt Hansen out of the shotgun. And it's a fake handoff, quarterback draw, 1 tackle broken, but that is all. As Hansen brought down at the original line of scrimmage by Matt Tolbert. 4th and 10 now for Mitty. Most likely they will choose to punt.
4th down and 10 from the Monarchs. Close to midfield. And Paly will take his final timeout and stop the clock. They've certainly got enough time here.
Oh, absolutely.
3 minutes, 14 seconds
even if they're pinned back near their goal line. Even to use a few run plays with Matt Tolbert if they'd like. They can really do whatever they like, as long as they keep getting those first downs.
You know, I'm guessing that there's still more than 3 minutes left, because all these plays have just been halted because of timeouts called by Paly. So we still might have somewhere just barely above 3 minutes. We don't have the precise management. So 4th and 10. As Mitty lines up in punt formation, and as our viewers are probably wondering, well, do we go to overtime hypothetically? The answer is no. There is no overtime in high school football. As I was mentioning, the all-time record of Palo Alto, well, there are ties involved.
And that does beg the question, should Paly score here? Would they maybe be aggressive and go for the 2?
Absolutely. That's what I was sort of leaning in the direction of, but didn't really want to mention the 2-point word.
Right. Well, they've got a long way to go before they can even think about making
They need to get a touchdown, and then you can go down that road. They have. So no timeouts for Paly. All 3 remaining for Mitty. Mitty is not so concerned about the timeouts right now. Back to pass Chris. Looks left, throws left, incomplete. As the pass bounces in front of Keyshawn Johnson. Brings up 2nd down, and a 3 and out here could be the game. With no timeouts for Paly. 3 minutes, 13 seconds, we are told. 3:13. Well, you don't know. I mean, I'm not saying Paly would at all want to 3 and out, but in a 3 and out, but try and make a quick stop. They could still have time if they could make the stop there. But the key thing, I think, right now for the Paly offense is go downfield. That's the best solution. Quick drop for Chris, throws, has a man, and it's caught by Malcolm Davis. And you better believe Davis was going to hold on to that football. Drew Mount with the coverage. But after that drop pass to the end zone, Davis was not going to let that fall through his hand.
He redeemed himself well. That was a very important pass. I guess the Vikings all the way up to their own 35-yard line.
Chris with the 5-step drop, throws to the right sideline, incomplete. Off the hands of Jayshawn Gaines-Mouton. So probably just under 3 minutes now, after we just had our last time check at 3:13 2 plays ago. 28-21 Mitty ahead of Paly in the tense late stages of the 4th quarter. Mitty going with 3 down linemen here. And the 5 defensive backs. Play action. Chris going deep. He's got Davis. Davis with the catch. And the Paly touchdown.
And that has ignited the crowd here at Honore Field. 65 yards from Keller Chris to Malcolm Davis, the 2nd time the two have connected for a score tonight. And Paly now with a critical extra point to tie the game. We've talked about Chris' arm strength. He really showed it on that one. By far the longest throw he's made. Hit Malcolm Davis in stride. And Davis, who's had some problems dropping passes this game, easily does it. Chris, and it's a fake. It's a fake, and Paly will not score. The holder, Malcolm Davis, trying to scramble, and he did not make it, and Paly remains down by 1. Incredible. That changes the entire game. couldn't tell if that was a planned fake there or a bobbled snap.
And Grant, let's watch the replay here. I at first thought it was by design, but let's see. Replay. That is a guts. And the question is, did Davis just sense there is no way that this extra point is going to get off? And then, well, he didn't get anywhere.
Well, the crowd has gone from very excited and happy to pretty quiet now that Paly is still trailing in the game.
Stunned at Hard-Ray Field. But as kickers always will tell you, they are very important people. And don't just say an extra point is a given, ever. And right there is an example.
Didn't even have the chance.
A crushing moment there for the Paly faithful as it remains a Mitty lead, albeit just by a single point. 28-27.
Now we'll have to see if Paly will try another onside kick. We saw last kick not a successful onside kick, so we'll see what they pull out of the box here.
I have to say, if that was an onside, a fake field goal attempt, I would be shocked. They will go for the onside kick. Felch with a good one, has the bounce, but it goes out of bounds. And Mitty will get the football after the unsuccessful onside kick attempt. What a dramatic turn of events. First with the touchdown, bringing Paly so close with 2 unanswered touchdowns. Paly making a dramatic comeback, and then it all comes down to the extra point.
On Palo Alto.
Could not do it.
One of the options
extra
they
point
can take
whether it was a fake extra point or just a plain botch snap.
Often an afterthought, but the extra point center of attention at this point in the game.
Well, you could bet that Mitty will be running the football here. Flying down on the play as the carry goes to Kyle Evans. A little bit of a deflated feeling for the Paly faithful as they just had such the emotional high, but then it just didn't work. No timeouts remaining for Paly, so all Mitty has to do, what Mitty just should not be doing is what they just did, chop block penalties to stop the clock.
Right.
Chop block
that penalty.
on offense. Penalty is declined. Second down.
What are we at now, Trevor?
I'm guessing it's still over 2 minutes, I think.
Right.
Time-wise, so that is the question. If Paly can get Mitty to do a 3-and-out, presuming that Mitty is going to try and run out the clock here as much as possible. They still, Paly probably will have a little time, not a lot, but I mean at least maybe Hail Mary time.
Right, and we saw Chris connect on a very long pass with Davis just a couple of moments ago.
And a handoff picks up about a yard or so. And now 3rd down coming up here for Mitty, and Mitty will just let the clock continue to roll with that 1-point lead.
3rd down and about 6 yards. This play will decide the game.
And it is just so hard for everybody because they don't know how much time there is. What if there is a minute and a half? Then you know that a stop here is there's a flag down on the play. And it's with the carry, stopped well short of the 1st down. And
stop short. We'll have to see who
we'll see who's the flag on. If it's and it's a chop block on Mitty.
I would presume they would decline this penalty, so it's
absolutely get the 4th down. Don't give them another chance.
Chop block
penalty
on the offense. Penalty is
Talked
declined.
about how it
Fourth
makes it a
down.
little tougher for us without the clock, but it certainly can't be easy on these players either.
No,
A little bit like a soccer situation where you've got
the penalty time.
right, and not exactly sure when it's going to end.
And then it's already a tense game just to
There's
begin
1
with
minute,
here for the
28
crowd.
seconds
There you
remaining
go,
in the
folks.
game.
Thank you to our official. 1:28, and it's fourth down now. And Mitty lines up in punt formation, which shocks me, but they also don't want to give any good field position potentially here to Paly. But Paly will get the ball back with over a minute left.
We should be on the lookout for a fake here.
I would definitely, or at least to try and draw Paly off sides, and then Mitty might call a timeout here. That's what I'm guessing we'll see. There you go. Now Mitty calls a timeout.
They'll take the delay of game penalty. You see there the long snapper.
That's
For
right.
the Vikings practicing. You never know. Field goal, of course, would win this game. We saw kicker James Fogue in practice yesterday. He was nailing 40-yarders into a little breeze, so Paly could get it to the 25-yard line or so. They'd have a decent shot at a field goal.
Yeah, he said anything under 40, absolutely go for it. Those 47-yarders were close. Didn't quite work it in his personal best in a non-game situation is 50 yards.
Right. And 40 to 45, he's definitely got a shot. Under 40, he'd be feeling much better, though.
So again, the Monarchs line up in punt formation, and they will punt it away from their own 45-yard line. And it's a good one, fielded on a hop. And not a lot of room there for Davis to return. A long field to work with about a minute 20 or so remaining, but no timeouts for Paly.
But we did see the Paly offense from deep in their own end last drive. They made it down the field thanks to Keller Chris, long pass to Malcolm Davis. So we'll see if they can repeat that feat. They've got probably about 1 minute and just over 20 seconds. So they're going to have to get out of bounds if they do catch the ball.
So Chris under center with a 3 receivers set and looking toward the sideline, and he's got his man. Complete to Jay-Sean Gates.
And
that's what they need to do.
That's exactly what they were looking for. Just a route to the sideline. Perfectly placed ball by Chris. Jay-Sean Gates-Mouton gets out of bounds, and not much time lost, but a few yards gained.
And it is so crucial for Mitty defensively to try and isolate that sideline to prevent that type of play from happening. You need to veer them upfield. Keep going. Keep
veer
going.
them upfield.
Don't go to the sideline.
Into the middle of the field.
But when you're Paly as a receiver, you need to be fully aware that you don't want those extra 5 yards. You need to get out of bounds. Chris back to pass. Escapes the pressure. He'll take it himself. Looking for the first down, and he has it. Out to about the 39-yard line.
Right.
And Keller Christ does a good job getting to that first down marker because he had to at least momentarily stop the clock. And now the clock begins once more.
He showed his mobility there, 13-yard gain.
Now Chris back to pass. Looking, rolls out of the pocket to his left, throws, and the ball is loose, knocked away from Chris, and Mitty recovers. As Chris was attempting to throw, the ball was knocked loose before he could release the football. And another turnover by the Vikings, recovered by Mitty. And now the Monarchs just need to take a knee and escape Palo Alto with a 1-point victory.
Well, that will just be a heartbreaking defeat for the Vikings. Within an extra point of tying the game up. Looked to be driving here.
It seemed like all the momentum was going there in the Vikings' favor, and then it just stopped. Crushing. Heartbreaking botch snap or fake field goal that did not work. And now the Keller Crisp pass knocked out of his hands before he could release it. Recovered as a loose fumble by Mitty. And
that'll do it.
All that Mitty needs is that one knee taken by Wyatt Hansen in a very intense, exciting matchup of two of the Peninsula's top teams. Nobody expected anything other than a close game. Well, guess what? The final score, 28-27.
Two very evenly matched teams. We said it would come down to the final minutes, and it did. Dramatic ending to this game. The Vikings, this is going to be a tough loss for them to take. The Monarchs improved to 3-0 on the season. The Vikings to 1-1. I think both teams can take a lot out of this game.
Absolutely.
And, they very well might meet in the CCS playoffs.
It seemed a little bit like an early season game between two strong teams where there were just moments of sloppy play, poor execution, but then there were also moments of brilliance where you saw athletic plays, beautiful throws, and really these were, I think, what we need to take away from this. They might be playing each other again in the CCS playoffs. These are two very evenly matched teams. And two very, very talented teams, well coached, who just didn't play their cleanest games tonight.
Well, an emotional loss for Paly, but they will have to get over it before next week's next week's game, as they take on the Gun Titans in another emotional contest here at Palo Alto High School. Final score: the Archbishop Mitty Monarchs 28, Palo Alto Vikings 27, as a missed, a botched extra point, maybe a not converted fake extra point, cost the Vikings in the final minutes.
Hard to pick a player of the game for this one since there were so many excellent performances, but I would have to say, it's hard to say, but I would probably lean toward looking at Mitty with, they had Takari Monroe with the 99-yard touchdown return. You might have to give that. All right, well, a crushing defeat here for the homestanding Palo Alto Vikings. They thought that they might have that ending momentum, but it just didn't quite work. And they will head into next week's Palo Alto Showdown, hosting Gun at a record of 1-1, while with this win, Mitty now starts the season off at 3-0. A final thought here, Grant, before we sign off?
Well, I thought it was, both teams had moments of brilliance, sloppy plays, but, I would say very evenly matched teams, both going to be successful during their seasons. The Mitty Monarchs will take some momentum into their WCAL schedule, while the Vikings will have to quickly recover before they take on Gun next week.
Next week, Mitty is back home at Foothill College hosting Sarah, and our next broadcast will be the next game as well for Paly as the Vikings host the Gun Titans. Now for Grant Raffel, I'm Trevor Felch. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Again, the final score tonight, the Archbishop Mitty Monarchs 28 and the Palo Alto Vikings 27. We'll see you again next week. Good night, everyone. And we're up.